Now, again, as I was saying, rationalizing the denominator. You're simply multiplying the denominator by whatever radical there is. For example, I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. Now, why is that okay? Because the square root of 3 over the square root of 3 is just 1. All right, so you can multiply a fraction by 1. All right, so now, Connor, what I want you to do right now is don't tell me you're paying attention. I want you to write that information down. Or move up close. So I have 2 radical 3 over, what is the square root of 3 times the square root of 3? 3. So that is your answer. That's all there is to it. It's called rationalizing the denominator. All right? Now, as we progress, all right, you will see occasionally, all right, now you just multiply the top and bottom by?
Radical 5.
Yes, you'll multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 5. Now, when you do that, you'll notice this time 10 radical 5 over 5. Now, the problem is you can reduce the fraction. All right, sometimes you can reduce, sometimes you cannot. So 10 divided by 5 is what?
2.
So now this simply becomes 2 radical 5. All right, 2 radical 5. That's it. Very simple. Very, very simple. All right, question number 5. Now we're going to multiply again the top and bottom by what?
Radical 3.
By square root of 3. All right. This time, the main concern, though, is that you have to distribute properly. All right. So when you distribute, you end up with 2 radical 3 minus 3 over what? 3. All right. Now, the next biggest mistake kids make is they try to reduce these 3's. All right. Can I reduce that 3 and that 3? No, because it's bounded by addition and subtraction. All right. If this number right here maybe would have been a 6, then you could reduce by 3. All right. You're never going to reduce, and listen to me, a rational number and an irrational number. All right. You can only reduce rationals with rationals and irrationals with irrationals. All right. So let's take a look now. Yes.
Why would you put the 2 minus radical 3?
Because I'm distributing the radical 3. If I'm multiplying the entire numerator, it's like this. If the numerator was, and I always try to tell kids, think in terms of variables. If I said multiply x plus 2 by 3, I would want you to understand there was a parentheses around it because you're multiplying the entire thing by 3. Right? So I'm multiplying 2 times the square root of 3 and the square root of 3 by the square root of 3. All right, so now let's take a look at number 6. So now in number 6, I'm just multiplying the top and bottom by what? Radical 11. All right, and when I do that, I end up with 2 radical 11. Beautiful. That's exactly right. 2 radical 11 minus radical 33 over 11. Everybody agree? It is. Come on, that's easy. All right, very easy. All right, let's try another one. Multiply the top and bottom by what? Radical 5. Radical 35 plus radical 15 over 5. Very easy. Yes.
When would you simplify?
You would simplify. For example, let's make this a problem. Let me change it for you to something that you can simplify so you understand. All right, look. Let's say I did this. Let's say I really wanted this to be, for example, 10 radical 35 minus 5 radical 15. Now I can reduce. Because I can reduce this by 5, this by 5, and this by 5. No, you cannot. The reason why you cannot is because, remember, this is a radical. This is not a radical. You can only reduce radicals and radicals. All right, so what's the problem with number 11 now?
Oh, you could reduce.
Yeah, you should simplify square root of 12 first. Simplify radical 12 first. So that'd be good, 2 radical 3. So 14 over 2 radical 3. All right. And then what am I going to do with the 14 and the 2? Right, so that becomes what now?
7 radical.
7 over radical 3. And now you multiply the top and bottom by radical 3. So I have 7 radical 3 over 3. Everybody good with that? All right, hopefully you find that pretty easy. All right, 13. Now, what was 72? Bless you.
36 times 2.
36 times 2. So it comes out as,
6 radical 2.
beautiful, guys. That's what you should be telling me. 6 radical 2. And then that reduces to 6 over radical 2. And then multiply the top and bottom by what? Radical 2. So I have 6 radical 2 over 2. Is that correct? And then I just reduce, right? So that is the same as what? 3 radical 2. Everybody good with that? Anybody have any questions? Okay. So 15. Now, can I reduce the 3 and the 4? No. So what do I multiply the top and bottom by? Nope.
Radical 2.
Just radical 2. All right, just multiply the top and bottom by radical 2. So I end up with, beautiful, 3 radical 2 over 8. Good job. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so let's do that because that's a common mistake. All right, so we're just going to do it and show you if you did that, it would be perfectly fine. So let me show you what happens. If you do 3, 4 radical 2, and then you do 4 radical 2 over 4 radical 2, I end up with 12 radical 2 over what? 32, right? You see that? And then what am I going to reduce by? 4. You see what I'm saying? So if you do it, you're just going to end up reducing by 4. All right, so then it'd be 3 radical 2 over 8. All right, would be no problem if you forget that. Sometimes kids forget and they just multiply. All right, but then in the end, you just divide by 4. So it's much easier just to multiply by the radical. All right, just multiply the top and bottom by the radical. Okay, so honestly, that was really the lesson for today. All right. So again, you can now, for homework, do the evens, but we're going to continue with the extra practice. And the reason I put the extra practice in is because I just felt like the test should have been better. We had mostly B's. All right. And the normal kids who usually make 98s made 92s. All right. So I feel like we were about 10 points under our average. All right. So I want to go through and just verify things again. All right. And again, I want you to think about the numbers the way I'm telling you to think about numbers. All right. And listen, if you have a question, let me know. All right. Because this is just like the test. All right. So now see what you remember. The square root of 3 times 4 square root of 3. Everybody should look at that and just say that's what?
12.
That's 12. All right. Does anybody have any questions about that being 12? Speak up now if you do. Connor, are you good with that being 12? Drinkard.
Yes.
12. Yes. What's the square root of 3 times the square root of 3? 3. And 3 times 4 is 12. So the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 3. And then 4 times 3 is 12. All right. Number 19. All right. You should be able to just look at that and say, obviously that is 1. All right. Now, hopefully, you would have said the square root of 1, but the square root of 1 is what? 1. All right, so that's just 1. You're just crossing out, kiddo. 9, 9, 5, 5. All of those are 1s. All right, just like our normal multiplying fractions. All right. Now, number 21. Again, I tried to tell you reducing, all right, fractions.
1 radical 3 and 2 radical
Perfect.
1.
Radical 3 over 2. Radical 3 over 2. Correct? Yes. Now, again, some of you understand my frustration. I just don't know what I need to explain.
How did you get 2 because you divide 22 by 11. Okay.
Right. So again, I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying, if I was looking at the numbers 11 and 22 and got 2, there's only one way to do that. That's what I'm trying to teach everybody. Even if you don't understand what I'm doing, you can look up there and board and say, how did he get a 2 from 11 and 22? All I did was I just divided. All right? And technically, you could say that is what? 1/2 if you wanted to. Everybody see that? All right? Does that make sense now? All right? Try to make some judgments on your own. All right? If you're not sure about something. All right? So here we go. 9 radical 3 minus 5 radical 3. 4 radical 3. All right, now we're breaking down 54. What was 54?
6.
So that becomes 9 radical 6 minus 2 radical 6, which is 7 radical 6. Everybody good with that? You see a 9 and a 2?
Oh, okay. I thought you said 2 radical 6.
All right, number 27. 18.
9, 2.
So that becomes, so that would be negative 30 radical 2. Right? 32 is,
16 times 2.
so that would be negative 20 radical 2. So altogether,
No, negative.
thank you, negative 50 radical 2. Connor, are you still working with me, or are you? I'm going to check in a minute. After class, I'm checking. So just to let you know that. 29. What am I doing?
So you're multiplying by radical 2, so it'd be 4 radical 3.
Multiplying the top and bottom by radical 3. 4 radical 3 over 3. No way to reduce. Any issues? All right, let's continue. 31. What am I doing? So my final answer is radical 15 over 5. What? Good. Good question. Good question. Good question. Because one is a, you with me now? One's radical and one's not. One's rational and one's irrational. All right? So here we go with 33 now. All right? Now, 5 times 5. 25. All right, now we have smiley faces. How much is that? Negative 5 radical 3. Over here, positive 5 radical 3. And then square root of 3 times square root of 3, negative 3. Beautiful. That's right. These guys cancel. 25 minus 3, 22. Perfect. Okay. Now we'd write this as 5 minus radical 3 times 5 minus radical 3. 5 times 5 is
25.
25 minus 5 radical 3 minus 5 radical 3 plus 3. Any questions? All right, so now I want to add 25 plus 3.
28 plus 2 is radical 3.
Yep, 28 minus 10 radical 3. That's not bad. All right, let's check out 37. All right, now you got to be a little careful. I tried to throw something a little bit harder here. All right, but it's really not. It's actually easier. All right, because terms don't really combine. All right, so this would be 8 radical 35. Very good. Now your smiley face, what would this be? Negative 12 radical 7. So far, so good, guys? And then your other smiley face would be plus 28 radical 5. And then what? Minus 42. Perfect. Perfect. Is there anything I can do with those 4 terms? Nothing. They're all different. All right. Nothing to it. Drew, you okay?
Yep.
You got a question?
Couldn't you reduce the
Nothing. What do you want to reduce?
8 radical 35 down to 5 and combine it to 28?
Very smart. But I'm not multiplying. If I was multiplying, you'd be correct. All right, I'm adding and subtracting. Okay? Yep, that's the answer. All right, so who was listing on 39? We'll multiply the top and bottom by
Radical 5.
radical 5. Good. Radical 5, radical 5. So the numerator is
Radical 5, 15.
over.
15.
Good job, guys. Over 15. Anybody have any questions with that? Yes.
How did you get 2 radical 5 minus 1 radical 15? Wouldn't it just be
Go ahead.
Wouldn't it just be radical 15?
Well, I multiplied this times this. Remember you asked me that before, right? You're distributing. All right, you're distributing. All right. Was that it?
Yes.
Wow, that was too easy a day. Wow, that was really easy. Okay, so now your assignment. Just knock out all the evens, please. All right, very simple. Very simple day. All right. And then tomorrow I'll give you a test back. Hopefully that kind of reviewed a little bit with you today. Yeah.
Would the top row be 5 radical 6 plus 6? Or
Yes,
5
that's
radical
correct.
6 radical
Plus 6.
6.
Plus 6. You said it right. Because you're distributing.